Hello, everybody. This is Kayla with King's Advisors, and today we have a very special guest, one of the saltiest people I know from the saltiest inferno, that is the Salty Inferno, Felicity Poobell.
I appreciate that introduction. I appreciate you having me also.
Absolutely. We've spoken about this a couple times in some of the comments of different YouTube videos, and I just knew that I needed to have you on to talk about this. And today's topic is the DC animated universe.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, I've always wished for them to just go ahead and do the live action version of that. I think they would have had so much more success than, the path that they did take.
Yeah. It's I remember, let's see, I would probably have been 14, 15 when no, I could drive. So 16 or 17 when Man of Steel came out. And I remember being super excited because I kind of thought that's what this would be. Because when Superman Returns came out, I was what was that, like 05, 06?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I was about 10 years old. This and that's honestly what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was a because I was 10, I was an idiot. I thought it was a live action version of this Superman that I had grown up watching. And obviously it didn't turn out to be that, and we don't need to talk about that. But what I want to ask you is, I think there's 5 TV shows and probably about 4 or 5 movies in the DCAU. What is your favorite one?
Uh I did love Batman the animated series, but I
Mm-hmm.
think I got the most out of the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. I found a lot of good stuff, in those episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with you as well. I remember I have this very core memory of so Justice League, I think, used to come on about 8 o'clock on Cartoon Network. It was like the last thing on Cartoon Network before Cartoon Network would switch over to Toonami. And I think that was about 9 o'clock. And I remember just kind of like begging my mom and dad, please let me stay up, please let me stay up, or let's not leave yet, or something. I was trying to stay in front of the TV to watch an episode of Justice League. And I don't remember which one it was, but it's one of those things that there was so much like happiness in this show. And even Batman, he's got those moments. One of them is kind of like when he in the not main voyage, the one Maid of Honor, where Diana is protecting that princess, and he starts dancing with her. You see this kind of other side. You see Bruce Wayne, but you still kind of know, oh, he's there for something. There's a reason he's there.
I did love that stuff because they actually went into the relationship between Diana and Bruce a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was really interesting. And, you always wondered, okay, well, where could this really go if we really, just stayed on it? Obviously, they didn't stay on it. They had different, things that they would focus on with each episode. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it was fascinating to see the interplay between them.
Yeah. I always liked that, with the exception of I think 1 or 2 storylines. Every storyline was 2 episodes. So that's like a 45-minute show. It does a lot to like introduce these characters, and it's not telling you you're gonna see this. It's not it doesn't pull its punches. And even for an animated show, it's a very serious thing.
Right. The thing that really like grabbed me with Justice League and Justice League Unlimited was that music. Like as soon as I heard that music,
Oh,
I was like, "Oh yes,
it's
this is
like
gonna be
it.
great."
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It felt like there was an occasion about to happen.
Yes, and right now as we're talking, it's playing in my head, and I'm just
Uh-huh.
like, oh my god, I kind of feel like I would want to just break out an episode and just start watching it.
Oh, I know. I'm actually almost tempted to just start watching this when we finish. Um, so let me ask you, what was your favorite episode or story, I should say?
I think one of the times that we chatted a little bit, I had
Hmm.
mentioned, Shire Hall, and
Yeah,
her
Starcrest.
like arc. The episode where they were dealing with Doctor Fate,
Yes.
and Aquaman, and they
The
were
Terror Beyond.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, and
With
that
Cthulhu. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it also involved Solomon Grundy.
Oh yeah. Yes,
And
he was the thing that was gonna like close the portal.
right, right. And he really wanted to get his soul back.
Hmm.
And it was, I mean, because obviously he's, very childlike. But he plays for, the other team. He's not on the Justice League team, he's on the other team.
Right.
But that episode fascinated me because I was like, you know, I really feel for him. And obviously we know what ended up happening in that
Hmm.
episode. Spoilers, guys. He died.
Yeah. But it's okay because he was born on Monday.
He was born on a Monday. And that episode, there was so many lessons about faith, faith in people, but also, faith in, almost a religious kind of bent, but not
Yeah,
really.
it was weird because it did deal with such a serious topic, but in a way that you weren't going to offend anybody, but it wasn't, you weren't telling everyone that we're doing it this way, so we're not going to offend everyone. It felt very serious.
Right. And I thought, when I watched that episode, I was like, kids can really get a lot, from
Hmm.
this. It's not being preachy, it's just presenting it, for them to take it in and to, just get them to think, about that type of stuff. So, it seemed very grown up, but I thought it was accessible for kids too.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. There's something to be said for putting not necessarily adult themes, but heavier storylines in children's entertainment rather than some of the stuff that we see today. And I think it says a lot that this kind of show still resonates with I mean people our age, people 20 years younger than us.
I agree. I agree. Because when I was doing the big rewatch, because I guess Netflix has
Yeah,
gotten
so
it and is
exactly, yeah.
playing it.
So I guess Warner is licensing it to Netflix, making a little bit of money.
Hey, they need to. They're not
Yes,
doing too
yes, they
well
do.
on the money front right now.
Hmm.
But
Oh, but just
yeah,
wait.
doing the rewatch and going back and seeing these episodes, I'm like, God, this is some really good stuff, and I really wish that they would do this type of stuff more instead of what we're being presented with now. So
Yeah. So my I think I've said this before on different streams or something. But when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9 years old, I was with my grandmother, and it was like the three of us. 'Cause I have a brother and a sister. The three of us were with our grandmother for the weekend, and so our grandmother's like, as grandmothers do, hey, I'm gonna buy you something. Uh, and so Justice League used to come out on these VHSs, two stories to a tape, and this was Blackest Night and The Enemy Below. Now, Blackest Night was the first, or technically second, but really the first, my first introduction to John Stewart Green Lantern. And to the point that years later, when I saw Hal Jordan, I was like, that's not Green Lantern. Uh,
yeah.
and I just love that fight that John has later against the Manhunters when he yells the Green Lantern oath in brightest day and blackest night. Absolutely love that. And then Enemy Below, that's a lot of people's that I've talked to first introduction to Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't some lame guy in an orange jumpsuit on Seahorse. This was a powerful dude. Like this
Yeah.
guy ruled the seven seas. And I
Yeah, he
just
was a
remember
serious
like,
character for
oh,
sure.
absolutely. A couple years later, I fast forward and I was watching Big Bang Theory and they're all complaining about they don't want to be Aquaman and I'm thinking, why? Did you see that guy? I'd like to be him, especially after he loses the arm with the has the retractable hook.
Yeah, that was. It's very different take on the character
It
than
it
Aquabro.
really is. It's in a lot of ways. There's some very different takes on a lot of these characters. The one negative I've always had about the show is I thought they kind of treated Martian Manhunter a little poorly, but you have to because he's just south of a god. And I mean, super strength, telekinesis, psychicness, and can teleport. Well, not teleport. Shapeshift, uh, phase shift. So they've got to do something, and otherwise he's just like a one man army. So
Yeah, you talking about this is making me think about, and I don't remember the names of the episodes. You're way better than me at
oh,
that.
I,
I
I have
remember what
IMDb
happened in
open.
them. But the and it may have been a Justice League Unlimited one. I'm not sure, but this was one where he got very disillusioned, with everything that was
Yes,
going on.
it's I know exactly which one you're talking about. It's in season 2 of the Justice League. It's
Hmm.
Tabula Rasa when
Okay,
it's the first episode with a Mazo android.
okay.
Yeah,
So
because he
this
does like this
was
giant psychic read of all of Metropolis, and he can't turn it off.
right, and so he kind of just wanders through the forest,
Hmm.
and he's so disillusioned, and then he picks up on this lost child, that there's a group of people, townspeople, that are actually looking for the child, but they can't find the child. And he kind of, gets himself together, and helps to save this child. And then he turns the child over, and I think, when you're watching it, you kind of think, okay, how is this going to go? Are the townspeople going to turn against him and think he was the one that, stole the child away? But they're, so very grateful that he's found this child, and, he kind of gets himself back together again. And it was just kind of a touching, episode. I don't know. What did you think about that?
So he's walking through the forest, and like you said, he finds the kid. But while he's kind of like still trying to shut the psychic link down, he starts hearing their thoughts, and he starts hearing the goodness of humanity. The townsfolk being, oh, I really hope we can find her. I know how I'd feel if it was my kid, and that really kind of redeems his faith in humanity. And there's another really cool scene with him where I think it's just before Starcrossed. It's the Christmas episode.
Oh
Um,
yeah. As soon as you said that, I knew exactly which one you were talking about because I
so
remembered him wearing the ugly Christmas sweater.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, it's so growing into it too. She was like, "Oh, you might have to grow into it." He shape shifts and gets bigger. Um, but it's such because they're all it's kind of an anthology episode. They're all doing their own little thing, and it ends with him like humming a Christmas song at the end, And Ma and Pa and I think Clark are just kind of sitting out going, it's the best gift we've ever gotten.
Yeah, that was a cool episode. And again, it wasn't like preachy, about the
Mm-hmm.
Christmas thing or anything. It was more about like the values.
Yeah.
Not necessarily about whatever religion you choose
Mm-hmm.
to follow.
Exactly. Yeah. It was an adult theme that wasn't kind of telling you how your life should be. But probably the saddest moment in Justice League is Wild Cards with Ace.
Refresh my memory a little bit on that one.
The Royal Flush Gang.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I gotcha.
And Joker, Joker's plan is to like blow up Vegas. And then obviously the Justice League stops them. Ace goes haywire. Batman basically has to go and shut her down because
Right.
he's the only one
Yes.
that can like see through the illusion. And
Yeah.
there's that sad moment where she's just like, will you stay with me? Because she knows what's about to happen. And he doesn't say anything, but he holds her hand. And it was just like, oh, he is human.
Yeah. It's Bruce is such an interesting, oh, Bruce or Batman, but I mean, really,
Yeah.
Bruce is the actual mask. He's
Mm-hmm.
really Batman at all times. I like exploring him. I mean, we talked earlier about the interplay between him and Diana, and how she kind of brings out a certain side to him. So I always liked seeing the episodes that kind of focused a little bit on Batman.
Yeah, it's because I mean absolutely nothing against Batman animated series because I love that show, but it's just him and Robin, and I guess Gordon and at times Alfred, but Diana and him seem to have a. I mean, obviously, I would hope they would have some sort of a different relationship than him and Robin, but there was just this he seemed more open, more vulnerable
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, probably. Thinking about the future. Maybe just a little bit, not to take himself out of what was happening, but just enough to, maybe continue to give him that hope that one day he can put away the Batman thing and just be Bruce
Yeah.
with somebody that he actually cares about.
And of course, we find out that that never actually happens
Yeah,
because we got what I think is actually kind of an underrated show, Batman Beyond.
I
What
liked
are your thoughts on
Batman
that?
Beyond.
Yeah. Yeah, I like um the darkness of it almost. It almost felt like a dirtier, grittier Gotham.
Right. Actually, I really had hope that they were going to do a live action version of that. I thought maybe, and you probably would disagree with me on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe Robert Pattinson would actually be a good Terry McGinnis instead of, the actual role that he played, which was Bruce Wayne and, Batman.
So
So that was a little bit disappointing for me.
I can support that because I think he gives off a little bit Terry vibes. I don't think he gives off Bruce vibes. But what was so one of the things that I really love about Batman Beyond is who voices Terry, Will Freedy. And if you don't know, Will played the older brother in my favorite coming of age TV show, Boy Meets World.
Oh, that's your favorite one of your favorite
Oh,
shows?
I love it, man. I could rewatch that show so many, and I have. I love that William Daniels plays the uh, teacher in it.
Oh, you're bringing
Mm-hmm.
me back. He was the voice of
Excellent.
Kit.
Yes, he was. He was also John Adams in 1776, which is
Uh
why they
huh.
attended John Adams Middle School.
Yeah, and Saint Elsewhere also. I don't know if
Exactly.
that's a show
Yes,
that you ever watched, but
I've
yeah.
I've heard of it, and I've seen stuff. I never actually watched it. But yeah, he was a cool guy, and having Freddie, I think it is, in this was just so cool.
Yeah, it was. Wow, bringing back so many memories of all these shows
Hmm.
that we used to watch.
But that's kind of the point of this, you. So the first one I did was Master and Commander, and that's a movie that is will always be near and dear to my heart because whenever I watch it, it reminds me of a really great day I spent with my dad, and it's just the memories involved and all that. And then the second one was Cars, and you know that's such a great movie from back in the day and when Pixar was really at its height. And this, when kids TV was at its height, we got things like Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series, Static Shock. But we got some just absolutely incredible heroes of every single race and gender. I mean, there were people for everyone to look up to that were all incredibly written. There was no one felt that no one got there the easy way.
Right, and then unfortunately, we're in a time frame where a lot of people forgot that we've already gotten through a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
We had a
Hmm.
lot of this stuff. We enjoyed a lot of this stuff, but now we're in a different place, and it's kind of awkward because
Yeah.
you got to educate some people and say,
Oh
hey, maybe
yeah.
you should go watch this because we had this, we had this already.
The 80s were great with that.
Yes.
As we wind down, where can everyone find y'all?
Well, hey, go to YouTube at the Salty Inferno. And we just love to give our spicy hot takes on, just about everything. And I have another channel, Fan Shot First with Abby Kays. So if you want to hear, from me, you can check me out there as well.